Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen Workshop. It is November 2nd, 2023, and it is 6:30 p.m. On Tuesday night, I will have the prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be with Alderwoman Haas. Everyone should have a copy of the October 10th, 2023 regular meeting. And first, we're going to run into our presentations. Chief Beasley.
Thank you all for coming to support tonight. Got an echo. It's always a pleasure to promote someone within the department. It's a lot of time spent training and accomplishing tasks and certifications to get to this point. And Jack's one of our firefighters we hired about 4 years ago. Is that correct? And so in this time period, Jack has really come a long way in his skills and his ability to function well in an emergency. We're exceptionally proud of the maturity that he's gained over the last couple of years. So I'd like to take this opportunity to promote firefighter Jack Egan to the rank of engineer driver, and his wife will be doing the badge pinning.
Congratulations. Then we'll have the public comment period if anyone signs up. Then we'll have departmental reports. Moving on to old business, second reading ordinance 2023-24, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 general fund budget. And this is second reading. This is for IT and the fire department. Does anyone have any questions?
I do have a question, and I think I've asked you this before, Bruce, but is there any way we can separate the cost between the fire department and the public works building as two separate items? I saw that it was broken down in the actual quote.
You talking about splitting it into two separate ordinances?
That's correct. That's what
At this point, no, because we already have a first reading on this.
Okay, thank you.
And typically, if we have something for general fund, we put it all on one ordinance. So this is all general fund.
Okay.
Any other questions? Moving on to second reading ordinance 2023-25, an ordinance to amend the impact fee ordinance to add an annual adjustment for construction cost inflation. And again, this is second reading. This is where we are basically adding into our impact fees annual adjustments for based on the construction cost index for inflation. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have second reading ordinance 2023-26, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 police impact fee fund budget. And this is, again, second reading. This money is for funds in conjunction with a grant that the city will receive in order to purchase a tactical rescue and response vehicle for the police. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to the consent agenda, we've got approve or reject city bids and purchases. First, we've got the GSA contract for network switches and installation for the new fire station and public works facility. And this is, Glenn, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is for the switches that are part of old business.
Yes, the ordinance that's in old business, correct.
Wonderful. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to number 2, sole source purchase. Personal protective equipment. This is turnout gear for the fire department. This is, just like it says, PPE, and total cost is $30,310. Does anyone have any questions?
Was this, excuse me, was this part of that grant that you were looking at, that we had talked about a couple of 3 months ago?
No, ma'am, this specific purchase is for replacement gear for the incumbent firefighters. So as we have a systematic process to replace gear through the years.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Moving on to number 3, repair driveway and ramp for Fire Station 42. And this is roughly $37,000 in repairs. If you drive by there, you can definitely see at the front where it is sorely needed. Sadly, we kind of underestimated what the price would be, so we budgeted about $30,000. So we will need to do a budget amendment for another $7,000 for final approval, and that is on this budget. But this is to do those repairs for Fire Station 42. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, moving on to B, approve change order number 3 with Romac Incorporated for Fire Station 41. And this is a change order. It's got 3 items on there. Let's see here. Looks like all of them are going to be deducted from the contingency, and the total on that's about $84,332.08. And so, Chief, do you want to go through any of these?
No, sir, not unless y'all have any questions.
Thank you. Moving on to C. Approve change order number 1 with Barron Construction LLC for the Public Works and Community Development Services Facility. This is a total of $290,479.74, and several items for change order, and it's outlined down below, whether it's furniture, structural. You can see it all broken out. Does anyone have any questions?
I know it's early, Kyle. Is everything on track out there? Is they on time? Everything going good?
Probably better to ask Gary. He's been heavily involved with it, so.
Just yell it. I'm just curious if everything's on time.
Come on up to the podium.
Come on up so that the public can hear you.
All right, well, right now, the contractor's thinking they'll be done around September of next year, which is on time. With the risks, we keep a separate risk register where we think the outstanding risk and assign, if this happens, then this will happen. We're thinking more along the lines of November, possibly even early December as a target date. But in terms, they're going along real well now. They got most of the foundations in for the third of the building, and they're putting in a lot of concrete, getting it going. The main holdup is getting the pre-engineered metal building portion fabricated and on site.
Somebody asked me this the other day, and I hate saying it, but I didn't know. Are they past all of the point of there might be any kind of blasting or anything?
Yes, sir. We won't have any blasting. So everything that we've run into is been able to get out with a hoe ramp.
Good. Okay.
All the site plan work was done before the building was ready.
Yes, sir, but we are having to put in utilities, and that's where the hoe ramp's coming in, and it's getting a lot of use. So we're down into rock, but it's in the fracture zone of the rock, and it's been coming out pretty good so far.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Moving on to,
I do want to make one request with that. I do request, with the amount of $290,000, I do request that we make this its own line item.
Bruce, let's move this to new business rather than the consent agenda.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Moving on to D, approve agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and the City of Belmead, City of Brentwood, the City of Goodlettsville, City of Laverne, the City of Millersville, the City of Ridgetop, and the White House Utility District for the selection of a rate consultant to develop the initial utility price for the calendar year beginning October 1st, 2024. Part of the contract with, the agreement with Metro and all of the wholesale customers is that this year there would be a rate consultant hired so that we can get a new rate for the upcoming contract. And so that's what this does, is it enters into that agreement, because we will be having to have a new contract that will go into effect October of next year. Does anyone have any questions?
How long are those good for? Is it yearly or?
10
I
years?
believe it's a 10-year agreement.
Okay.
Now, they will build in there some rate increases, because we've seen that in the past. So, but so far, we've done very well with that.
Indexes, yeah, it's based on indexes.
Any other questions? Moving on to E, approved donation of vehicle to the city from Box 100 Incorporated. They're offering to donate a 1999 Freightliner F50 to the Laverne Police Department for their use. And so the vehicle is valued over $10,000. So this board would have to approve that. Does anyone have any questions?
I guess I have a question as far as what Box 100's status is, because I do understand after the police incident that they were trying to reestablish.
So they are establishing as a countywide program.
Okay.
But for our rehab purposes, one of the things that they've discussed was donating that vehicle, and then the city can do its own rehab for regular events. They're doing more countywide, bigger events.
Sure. Okay. Just my question. Thank you.
F, approve the 2024 league facility user agreement with Universal Sports League / Laverne Baseball Softball Association to conduct a youth league baseball softball program. And this is our annual youth softball baseball agreement. And the group agrees to pay $8,000 a year. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to G, approve payment agreement, statement of work, and standard service contract with Howard Technology Solutions for the new Fire Station 41 training room equipment. And this is agreement for the scope of work to install low voltage systems in Fire Station 41. And so it is $86,797.37, and this was part of the budget for the construction. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to H, approve grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security for the provision of a police traffic services highway safety project. And we've done these before, and the city would be reimbursed up to $25,000 to conduct these different operations, include like reduced speeding, aggressive driving, DUIs, no seatbelt for children and passengers, those sorts of things. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to I, approve grant contract with the State of Tennessee, Office of the Secretary of State, Tennessee State Library and Archives for the Laverne Public Library Technology Grant. And this is a technology grant that is for the library. It's a 50-50 grant match, and the amount is $7,550. So, and this will be used for the computers and monitors for staff desks. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to J, approve railroad contract agreement between TDOT, CSX Transportation Incorporated, the Town of Smyrna, and the City of Laverne to jointly negotiate with CSX for the Jefferson Pike intersection. And Vice Mayor, I know you're looking over this one heavily, but this is basically dealing with a project over at Jefferson Pike. If you're familiar with that area, we've had numerous wrecks, and it is a border area. Jefferson Pike portion is in Laverne. The intersection is in Smyrna. So this project basically will involve pavement markings, signs within the CSX corridor, and the work is in connection with the safety improvements for it. Does anyone have any questions?
Gary, I called you and asked you about this. Can you give me just the short of what that letter said?
I have read that contract twice, and there's no short.
Okay, well,
But the basics of it is, TDOT is working on the construction project with us and Smyrna for both Sam Ridley and Jefferson Pike intersections. The town of Smyrna said they were gonna send a letter requesting that Jefferson Pike be taken out of it in order to not have to negotiate with CSX. I have followed up with TDOT, tried to find out where we're at with that. But this contract came to us, which allows us all to work together, TDOT, Smyrna, and Laverne, to do the negotiations we need with CSX to try and get that traffic signal in and get that intersection improved. So seeing this contract is a good thing.
And we did have a little bit of help from Representative Robert Stevens and State Senator Shane Reeves, who were also working with their government liaison to try to get this moving.
Has Gary ever seen that email that I've got from Steve Allen? I need to send that over to him that shows you about the letting, the dates.
No, sir, I haven't seen that.
You've never seen that, have you?
Right.
Have you seen it, Kyle?
I don't think so.
I'll send that tomorrow.
I'd appreciate it.
It gives a complete itinerary of what they kind of promised me on that. But I know that was before you came aboard, so I'll get that over to you.
Okay, and we had the field construction walk was about 6 weeks ago, or 8 weeks ago, so I'll check that against the schedule.
And while we're on the subject, Monday morning, 8:30, correct? We're gonna widen that up.
Well, they're going to, grade out that
Yeah.
area that.
Cut that bank back. Okay, good. I'm excited.
Yes, sir.
Nothing else about the contract, though.
No, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I think even Evan's working on it, trying to shorten it up to give me the dummy terms of it. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I've read that
It
thing
wasn't a
too.
fun read.
It just describes what everybody's responsibility is. Smyrna's, ours, CSX.
Does anyone else have any questions about the contract? Moving on to K, approved contract with the Regional Transportation Authority for the provision of regional bus service for fiscal year 2023-2024. This is the RTA, and our share is still $9,000, as it has been for the last 4.5, 5 years now. And so we've been trying to work with them to get this number sooner, but because ideally we would like to have it going into budget versus now, but we've got a few contracts with the state like that. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have approved grant contract for the fiscal year 2023. Edward Brin Memorial Justice Assistant Grant. This is basically it's a grant. We would receive $12,037. It's for the mobile surveillance camera, and there'll be a budget amendment that will be presented at the next meeting for the rest of the funds, because this is just paying a portion of it. Does anyone have any questions? Next, we have approved application for a roadblock to be conducted by the First Community MB Church from 10:30 to 3 p.m. on Saturday, November 11th, 2023, with a rain date of Saturday, December 9th at the intersection of Murfreesboro Road and Stones River Road. We get these regularly from different groups, and so the board just has to decide to approve this or not. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move into new business. First reading ordinance 2023-27, an ordinance to amend Title 16, Chapter 5, Section 16-502 of the Laverne Municipal Code and amend the City of Laverne fee schedule regarding the moving of houses, structures, or buildings. And so this is basically an amendment to those, both municipal code and to the fee schedule. We established the fee schedule just a few years ago and have been moving all the fees into that so that it can be easily updated and reviewed each year by the board. So this puts in there fees related to moving houses, structures, and buildings that were left out of the fee schedule. So, and then of course it removes the fees from the municipal code. Does anyone have any questions?
Is this gonna include them portable outbuildings? The many stored buildings that you see going down the road on back of trucks?
There are regulations in here as far as the size. I think it's more the type that if you're gonna have a police escort to block traffic and things like that, it's not for your small portable buildings, it's for your big ones, your big buildings.
Classify in there.
Yeah.
So this would be like school portables. Or we've got one company that brought what was left of a house to try to burn here.
Is it classified about the size?
I believe so.
Yes.
Mobile homes, camping mobile homes, it's specified in there that it's included, don't care if you got a, some of them campers is pretty long.
Right, this is really, I think, more for height than anything, you know, because your mobile homes are made to be moved like that, and a lot of these others are not, so it should all be spelled out in that municipal code.
Okay, moving on to number 10, Resolution 2023-22, a resolution of the City of Vergne, Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. This is some items from the police department, a cash register, a cargo trailer, 3 Humvees, and an old light tower. Does anyone have any questions about that? Resolution 2023-23, resolution to accept phases 1 and 2 of the Lieutenant Frank Walkup subdivision. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on September 26, 2023. And so this is just like it says, it is a subdivision acceptance. Once the 1-year maintenance period ends, the city will be required to maintain the infrastructure that's included with this subdivision, just like with every other. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to appoint or remove board and committee members. First, we have the Beer Board. Anthony Honeycutt has resigned, and so we are advertising that opening on Channel 3 and on social media. So far, we have not received any applications yet. And if we don't receive any, this will not be on the agenda. Next, we have the Laverne Housing Authority. We've got 1 term is vacant, and then we have 1 term that is expiring. We do have an applicant, Deborah Harding, who has applied. And then with Barbara McGee's term, we will check to see if she wishes to remain, and then bring that back to the meeting in December. But as far as Deborah Harding's, we can address Tuesday night. Next, we have the Planning Commission. We've got 1 term expiring, expired on October 31st. It's Terry Coleman. He does wish to remain on the Planning Commission. We also have 1 applicant from several months ago, Russell Maddox, and so I will appoint that at the meeting. Then we have the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We have 1 term vacant. That is, again, Andy Honeycutt, who resigned. He is moving from the city. And we have 1 applicant, Frankie Brooks. And then last but not least, we have the Stormwater Appeals and Advisory Board. We've got 2 terms that are vacant. No one still has applied, but we are advertising those on Channel 3 and on social media. So if no one applies by the meeting, we will remove this from the agenda. Moving on to number 13, discussion traffic calming study. Alderwoman Hobbs.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Cole. So as more and more properties are becoming rezoned into high-density housing, I've had a lot of citizen feedback with concerns about their neighborhoods becoming the next cut through, and with that request for speed bumps or whatnot. So I wanted to use this time to discuss that process in a form where citizens can better understand that process and the considerations that we need to make as the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to make something as common as a speed bump happen. So it's my understanding there is no ordinance right now for speed bumps. Is that correct?
There is an ordinance that allows for speed bumps to be installed by HOAs on private roads.
Okay.
That is on private roads, though, not public roads.
And an ordinance to, to create an ordinance to allow that to happen on city roads, would need a specific set of criteria when a speed bump would be indicated and when it's not, correct?
Yes, we would need to have criteria as to where they go, what the criteria is, and maintenance, because as Bruce and Evan will definitely chime in, because they love the word liability, if we install them and there is a wreck that's caused by them, the city is liable. Is that correct, gentlemen?
That's correct. I mean, it would depend on what the circumstances are, but yeah.
Sure. In order to get that criteria, though, we would need to do a traffic calming study, correct? To get that data, to get that information of when and where a speed bump would be appropriate.
I'm not sure that there is even traffic calming studies. I've never heard of that, of actual just studies for traffic calming. I know we've looked at different techniques that are out there. Roundabouts force people to accelerate, that sort of thing. Bruce, Kyle, either one of y'all have any feedback on that?
I think I talked to you a little bit about
Yeah,
this in the past. Mhm.
We had discussed this at the last, I don't know if it's a planning retreat or before that, but it's during one of the budget cycles that we discussed this, because this comes up pretty often. Pretty much whatever, or not every, but a lot of municipalities around us, they will have what they call a neighborhood traffic calming program. And they will lay out the process of how you make a request for, like a speed bump. If you think it's a speed bump won't work, a traffic circle or things like that, you make a request, and there's basically a process that you go through. Because of course you don't want to put a speed bump or other measure at every street, because that's going to get excessive. So how do you tell one person yes, one person no? So basically what other municipalities have done is they put together a document that, I can get out several examples if y'all want me to. I'll get them to y'all. That way you can look through it to see what other communities do. But basically it's just a process to say, is one needed here? Is extra law enforcement patrols, is that something you need to try first? And then kind of you graduate up to, okay, then go ahead and install the traffic control measure. And then of course, after 6 month, a year period, you see if it is actually functioning properly, as opposed to, is it doing something, is it taking traffic and making it go this way and then causing a problem on this street where you had it on this street? You see how effective it is and see if you need to remove it or if it needs to stay in place. But like I say, they've got the whole process outlined of what you need to do.
I looked through a couple of the programs done by Nashville and Murfreesboro have specific programs out there, and essentially it seems like there's an algorithm that they set up, kind of like a table as far as does it meet this criteria, yes or no, and kind of a map.
I think I've got Murfreesboro. It's pretty close. They're all about the same. You can tell even some of them have copied and pasted exactly the same thing, because I know I've got Franklin and Spring Hill sitting here, and they're exactly the same. So, like I say, I really think probably getting this information out, several different examples to you, that would be probably a start, and then see what process we want to go through. I know right now we get a lot of requests for speed bumps on pretty much every street.
Yeah.
So we don't allow them on public streets at this moment. Now, that's something that we can change.
Could you get some kind of estimate as to what starting some sort of program like that would cost? Like what we would need to budget to do something like that? Or to, just out of curiosity. So
Yeah, I can look
into that further. And part of my question overall, or something for the board to think about, is should we decide to implement a traffic calming program, like timing of when we do the study or when we collect this data? Do we do it before development? Do we do it after development? Do we do it both? That way there's a comparison to see what the difference was before the development was there and after. And I'm not necessarily caught up on speed bumps. I mean, there's other options, rumble strips, pinch points, roundabouts. You know, not that I'm a huge fan of roundabouts, but either way, there's other options out there that it's not just a speed bump. And then, of course, of utmost importance would be safety concerns, emergency. You guys, can you chime into that over there?
Yes, ma'am. I've spent a fair amount of time researching today, and there's a lot of processes that we have to consider to determine where there is one appropriate or not. And the way I interpret, and I'd have to lean on Kyle and Evan to look at, but the current adopted fire code says the fire codes official has the final say so whether that is adopted or not or put into place. We strive to the utmost to maintain on our side, the fire department, our response times, and the same thing with them as well. Depending on what type of calming device that you want to put into place, the roundabouts or the rubberized blocks that go into the roadway. There are delays, data that shows delays between 4 seconds to 15 seconds per bump.
Sure.
And depending on where they go, how many they are in succession, what they call major and minor response avenues. So if we use these roadways to navigate through Lake Forest routinely, where they could go there, and if we run through 1 here, 2 over here, 4 over there, you could be looking at a minute delay. Something else that has to be considered is as the city grows and the county grows, the number of cars and traffic that comes through the city, you have to understand that 10 years from now, traffic is going to probably significantly delay our response time, so that has to be considered on top of that. I have found some cities that have flow charts, if then. And the first thing would be is how wide the roadway is. And then you would, and I'm not recommending this necessarily, but this is what I've found, that at that point you would do a study and put the barriers up the computers. Wires. And so if theoretically 85% of the traffic on this roadway surpassed the speed limit, then it would be something we need to probably consider. If not, maybe that not be the option. The amount of traffic that's on that roadway, as well as, here's one other factor. But I think it's all based on studies, traffic, our NFPA response model that we have to try our very best to hold to. And of course, if you put the little rubberized things in the road, we may be able to navigate between those and it not affect the wheelbase of the fire truck, but the police car is going to have to go over it just like a personal vehicle as well as an ambulance. And those times will be delayed. You ask me if I'm in favor of them. Anytime that I'm asked, would I be in favor of something that delayed our crews on the scene, I'm going to say no. But I also understand the safety of the people that live there and the children that are in the neighborhoods and all those things. So you have to understand what's going on there. Sure. There are factors of cost and vehicle maintenance in those arenas. More often a police car, ambulance, fire truck goes over those bumps. We've spent probably $35,000 to $40,000 in the last 5 years on suspension replacements, and this would increase, potentially could increase that. And that $35,000 in the life of a child is that's a non-issue in my opinion, but we know that there's factors that we have to consider when we look at that. Does that answer your question, or is that too much information?
One thing I'll add, this isn't, I would say, for even areas that's being affected with new growth. I've had people from McFarland Point reach out to me wanting it in their subdivision, which they're an enclosed subdivision. They come out onto a main road. There's nothing connected to them. Same thing for Heritage Valley West. They are, I don't know how long they've been around, Bruce. I mean, 30, 40 years at this point. And everything around them is pretty much developed, except for one parcel, and they're wanting them. So it's all over. A woman on Drevel called today about some cars speeding through there, and that's another one that's been there for a long time. So it's not just for any subdivision that's next to new development. I think if it's something looked at and considered, it's got to be citywide. It's got to be open citywide to all groups, not just any one. Kyle, is there a way, I know you said you've got some information as far as what Murfreesboro does. Would you mind emailing that out to the board after the meeting or tomorrow, just so that we can see that information, please?
Yes, I'll get it out. I mean, one of the things they do, of course, in this process is, it has like, a lot of them have a petition process that you go through to get the community behind that speed bump or traffic calming device, because a lot of times what they've seen before is you put a speed bump out and you may have the 1 or 15 or 20 people that want it, then you have 15, 20, 30 people that don't want it, and they're all back and forth. So that's one of the things that's in the process, is trying to make sure that most of the community, because you're not always going to get all the community, but at least most of the community that is okay and feels the need for that traffic calming device.
And Kyle, I'll share with you, I found a resource from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation that has a very nice, clear-cut algorithm as far as, determining when it's appropriate, community involvement, the step-by-step process that I kind of found in my research. So I'll share that with you, and then when you kind of send your blast to the board, you can include that.
It may be the same,
Yeah.
because from what I've seen, it's a lot of the same little flow chart, basically, that you go through.
So it was a little bit more clear-cut than the one I saw in the Murfreesboro
Okay.
program, so, but no, I think that about sums it up. But I just feel, if our constituents are asking us for a specific way to spend their tax money, that the board at least give it honest consideration.
Yes, and
So-
we discussed it at one point.
So I brought this up a couple years ago and did some research. Those split bumps that Chief Beasley was speaking about are in Smyrna. They cost, well, a couple years ago, there's no telling, but they were about $2,500 a piece. And the Public Works Department put them down with big, long nails. The good thing about them is they will help. The fire trucks can split them. The bad thing about them is you must have a shoulder for that big fire truck to move over.
Gotcha.
Now, the other bad thing about them is if somebody happens to be walking there or a car's broke down or something, then that fire engine's got to hit that thing. We could talk about this, because I've been here 30 years, and I've heard every story imaginable. If it was up to me, I'd like to have 1-foot speed bumps all over the city. Seriously.
No, sir.
But we, and I say we as a citizen, I wish that we could count more on our citizens to understand that driving safely, paying attention, doing the right things, watching out for each other. But unfortunately, we don't have that. No city in the world does. It's not possible. As far as personally, there is just no happy medium with speed bumps. If my house is on fire, especially if my grandson is there, I want them guys coming. I want them running over everything in their way to get to my house, to save myself and my grandson. I would hate to think that they had to slow that big rig down for 2 or 3, 5, 8, 10 seconds. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's a fact. Because all my life I've heard time saves money. And we have the best response time of any fire department in the country. As a matter of fact, Mr. Beasley told me when he first come on board that he thought that the paperwork had been doctored because of the amount of fire time, or, you know, service time from where he came from. But there's just there's money, there's time, there's equipment. I personally don't have the right answer. I've done the research. I've asked questions. I talked to Public Works in Smyrna. But like I said, I know from my point of view, if my little grandson is there, I want guns blazing from the police department. I want the woo-woos, tires screaming from the fire department. And if they have to slow down to ease over that thing a couple of times while my grandson's being burned up, I don't care. I keep my kids out back. I keep my grandson out back. I don't let them play in the road. It's not right. Shouldn't have to be like that. But we've got people, if you put speed bumps up, they're going to see how much air they can get under their car. They've put those, the police have put those radar things up there. It's become a game. Hey, man, I got it up to 82. It's fact. There's just no happy medium. And I don't know what kind of research you all can do. I've done mine. And all I can say is,
I guess one of my perspectives about, you talk about risk assessment, emergency services and things like that. I mean, and I don't know the answer to this, and I'm not saying that my answer is right, but like, as far as risk assessment goes, what's the likelihood of a pedestrian getting hit by a speeding vehicle versus the likelihood of someone being injured in a structure fire? And to me, I lean personally towards more of a pedestrian getting hit by a vehicle before.
now I've been here, like I said,
fire.
I've been here 30 years. And Doug's been around here a long time, and some other people. And I just don't remember anybody that's gotten hit as far as a fatality. Do you remember any, Chief? Now, we had a young girl over on Centennial one time back in late 80s or late 90s. But that was a school bus, and it was a total accident because she ran out there. But it's frustrating. Alderwoman Hobbs, listen, I live on Fergus Road, and I'll match it with any street in Laverne. Any street, pick one out.
I want to add one thing, which is for the fire department, they're not going out just on the fire calls, every medical call. So if it's a heart attack, if it's a stroke, if it's somebody just needs a lift assistance, which happens, unfortunately, it's all of that kind of stuff that they have to go out on. It's and depending on the severity of the situation, response times can be important. So, and that's regardless whether they're hit by a car. If someone's hit by a car, they're still responding. If the house is on fire, they're still responding. If it's, heart attack, stroke, or anything else, someone's got COVID or the flu, they still call them.
And just to clarify, I would not put my personal opinion on top of that, because I would look at data. And when we look at our response times, we have two choices. We can either look at polygons, or I call them crop circles, but polygons, to say within this amount of mileage, our first fire truck's going to arrive on the scene in under 4 minutes. And then the second fire truck's going to arrive on the scene, I believe it's 90 seconds after. And then everybody will be on the fire scene within 9 minutes. The other option is to do it by mileage. And for those roads, if we went down that path to approving those, in that process, we would do the road mileage. To say that it's going to take X amount of time to get from the closest fire station to that address, add the amount of time that theoretically it would take to overcome all those, and try to factor in traffic. So it wouldn't just be the fire chief's opinion. It would be something that we could draw strong data from. It wouldn't be 100%, but I think it would be something that we could go on. Unfortunately, the further away you get from those fire stations, the longer it takes to get there. And then, you have citizens that live a little further away want some of the same opportunities as those do. And so we have to take that into consideration as well.
How long, and I know this is certainly extreme, anybody that lives in Laverne has probably been through it, in it, around it, whatever, but Cedar Glen Trailer Park is a private community, and they have speed bumps. From Station 43, which is from here to that wall, from Cedar Glen, how long does it take you to get in the back of Cedar Glen with a big fire engine?
I'm gonna ask the Deputy Chief, he's made that on many fire truck rides, so.
A few minutes, and you're from here to that wall, and it takes you a few minutes.
Would it surpass the first fire truck within 4 minutes? Would it, you think?
So, but now that's an extreme. That's an extreme.
They have more speed barriers there than any other place.
But if somebody sitting up here can get me or tell me, show me the true benefits other than to get people to slow down and keep our medical services, police services intact on time, I've got a yes vote for it. But from the research I've done, there's just nothing definitive. It's not a yes or no. It's just it's a catch-22. You know, it's like that deal we voted on last month. Did we want the commercial? Yes, but we had to get the apartments. It's catch-22. It's. What do you think about them, Doug? So, but I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to steal no thunder. I just
No,
know.
that's what today was about, just to have
Yeah.
open discussion and conversation about it. Hopefully this gives, our citizens a little bit more insight as to what we've got to consider. There's a lot more working parts other than just saying you deserve a speed bump or, yeah.
I've had people ask me rumble strips, and they're like, put them right in front of my house.
Yeah, do that.
You
See
do
what
that?
happens.
How loud are those, Kyle?
We had one several years ago that asked for that, and they asked for them to be removed very quickly.
Yeah, there again, and I know it's not going to happen, but if we had more people that would just drive right, leave earlier, pay attention, do the right things, call on the community, ask the community to please, slow down.
Use common sense.
Common sense, man.
Well, and just to add to the speeding and people just not caring, near Shreveman, from Stones River to KFC, you're taking your life in your hands. I mean, I drive it. I go into the office on Tuesday mornings, and I'm on near Shreveman between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, and I'm going the speed limit. And there are people passing in the turning lane. And I know that LPD has been up at KFC. They've been at other areas trying to stop it, but I mean, it's up to the citizens. It's, somebody's going to get hurt there because people just don't care. I mean, like I said, I'm glad I only do it one day a week. So, I mean, in today's society, people are in too much of a hurry. They think, man, I can sleep in another 10 minutes and I can hit it and I can go. And what is that 10 minutes versus your life or somebody else's life? And that's the way I look at it. That's why I get up so early and I drive in to Nashville so early. And if I have to do anything else, I always arrive 5 to 10 minutes early. Because you never know. And, I'm thankful for the fire department, the police department, the EMSs and stuff that they do get to the site or to the scene in a very timely, expedient manner, but yet they are very safe. They do look out for others. But, near Shreveman, right there. So.
Deputy Chief, we never get complaints about that area, do we?
No, not at all.
Alderman Waldron, do you want to add anything?
Only thing I got to say is, if the people would quit texting or reading the text at the red light, the traffic would move a whole lot better. Anywhere you go, I don't care if it's Laverne, Smyrna, or Nashville, you sit at a red light and it changes green and it changes red before 3 or 4 cars get by because somebody's there is looking at their phone and it turns red. That's only if I had a gripe to make, that'd be what I'd make. I think people needs to not text and read the text at the red lights.
Could we do a campaign?
We, with the THSO operation, yes, we just did one, and I believe it was in last of September, 1st of October, on the interstate. And I know that when I was going to the multi-jurisdictional law enforcement training center that they're going to be building in Nashville, there was heavy traffic, and Metro Nashville and the THP were on the interstate on their motors,
Yeah.
going in between, and they had ample opportunity just to look at every single car that was coming by, and they were just lighting them up left and right. So for us, we're looking at trying to establish, a traffic division again. But again, until we get our staffing up, we're
Sure.
at a rock and a hard place.
And part of this grant money that we've got on the agenda can be used for traffic enforcement.
For those agendas, yes.
Yes. Any other discussion on the traffic calming? Okay, moving on to mayor and alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
I want to congratulate Alderman Hobbs for finally getting something on the agenda. Hey,
Thank you,
proud
Doug.
of you. Again, check on the elderly. Make sure your pets have ample water and in shelter. The temperature is getting into the 20s. It's a great time to winterize your house. Garden hoses drained and rolled up and put up. Cover the outside water faucets. A lot of your new houses is falls free. But close your vents on your under-house crawl spaces. That'll help a lot. Change your HVAC filters regularly. That'll help you heating bill in the wintertime. If you got a half clogged up HVAC filter, it makes that air conditioner heat unit run, and it will burn out your I call it a big fuse coil, but they call it a pacifier. Check your batteries on your smoke detectors. It's a great time to do that. And again, winterize your automobile. Check your battery. Worst thing I hate to do is go out there on a cold day and my car won't start. Check your antifreeze. Check the tread on your tires, because if the roads get slick, even on wet roads, a slick tire, you will slide. And a lot of your accidents, if you look at most of your wrecked cars sitting in these record services, a lot of them has got slick tires. And that was good tires and brakes, to me, is like having good insurance. And check your wiper blades and your windshield wiper fluid. And that's all I've got. And I've got to run out of here because I didn't know this thing was going to run this late. But that's all I've got.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
No, just thanks to the board, everybody for participating in the discussion tonight. Thanks to Park and Rec for the trick-or-treating event. My kids had a blast. It was a good time. And thank you to all of our emergency services, everybody who's helped out. And God bless our officers. Yeah, thank you.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Veterans Day is coming up, November the 11th. The signs are out on Murfreesboro Road. Just a reminder that there'll be a ceremony here at 11 o'clock on Saturday to honor the veterans. And once again, thanks to Parks and Rec for a wonderful Goblins and Goodies. Do you estimate how many kids?
We don't, 4 o'clock, they were still coming through, so, at 4:05, we were excited to see 4:05.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. So, and once again, thank you to the Rutherford County, Nashville, Metro Davidson County Emergency Services and Police Department that came out and assisted with the recent event that we had. And bless all of them. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, no.
I know that Mayor Cole's gonna talk about some things, so I'll just let that go, but, thanks for the fire department for coming out last Friday to the senior, center and cooking hamburgers, but I wanted to share something with folks that are watching at home, because I did not know this. And I made a phone call, and it's being checked into. Because of our fire department, our ISO rating has dropped. Correct? It's gone down.
Or improved.
Improved. If you will pick up the phone and call your insurance company, tell them about our ISO rating. Let them know how far you are from a fire hydrant, like I did. Fire Marshal Brinkley and Kevin explained all of that to me. So they learned me, Fraser. They don't teach you, they learn you down in Fraser, Tennessee. Pick up the phone and make a phone call to your insurance company. Mine sounded like it may go down 5% because the ISO rating and where your fire hydrant is. So pick up that phone and call. That's all I got.
I will say mine went down. I use Xander, and whenever it went into effect,
So you called them and
I sent them even the letter. And so because they have to verify, and they're not proactive about verifying it, but mine did go down. So
as Johnny Carson would say, I did not know that.
well, I want to thank all of our police, fire, and all of the different agencies. There are way too many to name that came out in a moment's notice to assist Laverne through a recent emergency. And I will tell you, never in my lifetime have I ever seen so many agencies come together trying to help this community. It was absolutely amazing. Ann and I were over at Incident Command till almost 11:30. And I mean, it's amazing to watch everything and what all you and your teams and your colleagues do. So hats off to you guys, and thank you to all the different agencies that did step up to help us. One thing I do want to announce, because this is on Planning Commission's agenda for next month, but Aldi's Grocery Store is on the agenda for Planning Commission for Murfreesboro Road in right by the post office. So we will be reviewing that, and we've got a few other surprises coming in the next couple months. So we are looking forward to some of that. With that, I call this meeting adjourned.